Welcome in to the Jordy Culotta Show. Wave your hand out there, baby!
Shout out to the show.
She puts the pinky into the nostril. Man, look at that.
Healthy competition, there's nothing like it.
Y'all grow up. The line's wrapped around the stadium. Different strengths. I just lost a tooth.
It's going to be fun.
You know, we might have a story.
I love what you're doing.
Ogeron wants to take us fishing this afternoon.
Sharif, you play for the bad boys of the SEC, man. We don't apologize to anybody.
A lot of people are saying you're going to be wearing number 7.
I don't really know. I want to. He look crazy, Bill.
Good feet on the old man.
Definitely come back.
We'll be right back with the Jordy Culotta Show.
Welcome in to a Wednesday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show. I'm filling in for Jordy just for a moment. He is taking Little Jay to his second day of school. He tried to do both yesterday. Apparently, Little Jay was late for his first day. Jordy gets reprimanded, so now he's trying to play it straight, get him to school on time. Little Jay has a lot to live up to, a lot of expectations. New school, second day. You want to be on your P's and Q's early, like I was saying yesterday. You want to get out there and get to a recess, get to a football practice. You want to, be able to make your name early. I don't think he's going to do it in the classroom, but he can probably do it on the football field, baseball field, something, basketball court. Let your athletics do the talking. That'll let you know who's the big dog on campus. Anyway, Jordy will be in about 7:30. Jordy Culotta Show, driven powered by RMB Builders every single day. A lot to get to. Brian Kelly, first of all, Stewie in the building. Thank you, sir. I know he's working hard over there. My man. He had to bring his kid to school yesterday, first day. What grade?
Kindergarten.
Kindergarten?
Yeah.
Nap time still?
I don't think no more nap time.
I feel like we napped in kindergarten.
I
Bring a towel?
think he did nap.
Yeah, you got to nap in kindergarten.
I'll ask him. He'll let me know.
The thing about that is...
Not a big nap guy.
You don't know that those are the best times of your life until they're gone. Because in 10th, 11th, 12th grade, you wish there was nap time. You make your own nap time.
I did make my own
Oh,
nap
yeah.
time.
Dude, I had a buddy that used to bring a pillow in his book sack, and that was it. And he wouldn't even take it out. He just would sleep on his book sack, but there was a pillow in there.
He's
and
a smart man.
A smart man, quarterback. But you got to get in where you can with those naps. So you wish you had them. You don't want them in kindergarten, but you want them when you're older. Anyway, a lot to get to. Speaking of nap time, it feels like LSU football might have needed a nap yesterday or 2 days ago after the fight. But that is, according to Brian Kelly, he's already forgotten about it. He's like, when you're dealing with 18 to 21-year-olds, that ship has sailed. We got a lot of learning to do. And it's a teachable moment, as he said. So, of course, the media is going to make a big deal of it. Not a lot to talk about when something like that happens in front of the media. It is our job. I guess not me. I'm not media. But it is the media's job to report on it. It's my job to talk about it. So we speculated a little bit on it yesterday. Stewie was there. If you have any of your 2 cents that you want to throw in, because we didn't get to hear from you yesterday, he just said it was hot.
I mean, this is hot. Like I don't know what else to say, but like before camp, I probably didn't say it on air, but off air I told a lot of people like I feel like LSU should fight in camp. Like that's what happens in camp. Like people don't understand that. Like people are gonna overblow it and make it what it is and make it this big skeptical, but like football teams fight in camp, regardless of if it's middle school, high school, college, NFL. Like they're gonna fight. Like it's hot. We've been together the whole summer. I've been looking at the same dude the whole summer, and like we've been going one-on-one in drills the whole summer, and it's just
at some point it's gonna come to a head.
Right. At some point we're gonna get into it, and it's gonna make us better teammates. And they all fought, and like at the end of the day, when you look at it from a bigger picture perspective, like when your teammates fight, you want to know if your other teammates are gonna fight for you. Like, if you fight, you want to know if your other teammates are going to fight for you. And I can tell you that both sides of the ball know that their teammates are going to fight for them.
Yeah, that's what you saw from the reports I got kind of off to the side, whatever, was that everybody hopped in.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. And everybody that was saying, I don't want to harp on this too much because we talked about it a lot yesterday, but for everybody saying it might have been a little too early in camp for fighting, like Stewie said, bro, you're there all summer together.
Bro,
like, you don't get to see that part of it.
Travis Kelce punched his teammate on like the second day of camp.
Yeah, for no reason.
For nothing.
Just playing a little too hard of defense on
Exactly.
me. But we have some clips from BK's interview yesterday that he sat down with the media for about 20 minutes. We cut those up. A couple of things that he talked about was the state of the running back room. He mentioned the quarterback play, obviously what he sees on the defensive line. He went over kind of everybody position by position, got some good questions, so we'll get to that in a few. If you have any questions that you want to get to while we're doing a little free flow, feel free. Also, big news coming up tomorrow as we have 2 LSU targets set to commit at 1:45 Central Time on the Go247 YouTube page, as Jayden Daniel and Colin Simmons are both set to announce from Duncanville's, what do they have, a media day? That's how you know their football team's good. If you have a high school media day where they are rolling out the red carpet for 2 5-stars, well, I guess a high 4-star and a definite 5-star, and Colin Simmons to be able to commit. We got some, Shea Dixon broke it down yesterday on 3, and his confidence is dwindling in the Colin Simmons boat because it feels like Texas is starting to understand that you can't let one of your own slide out like this. If you have a perennial 5-star that seems like he's a 3-and-out potential number 1 overall pick, at least projecting from high school, he's that good. And it feels like Texas has kind of rallied the troops a little bit to be able to put some recruiting efforts together. And as Shea said, it's not over, but he moved his confidence meter from 60 to 55 on Colin Simmons, and he went the other way with Jayden Daniel, where he feels highly confident that LSU will land the running back, as he deemed it. Frank Wilson called it Durham or bust when it comes to prioritizing the their number 1 prospect of the 2024 class in Jayden Daniel. So he moved his RPM pick, the recruiting prediction machine, on 3 from 80% to 90% in favor of the Tigers for Jayden Daniel. So it feels like LSU, that's the only recruit that Frank Wilson has circled on the recruiting end for a running back. And when Frank kind of circles you in, it feels like there's really nowhere else for you to go. So Frank made him a priority, and it feels like LSU will land at least 1 running back in the class of 2024. Colin Simmons, on the other end, not so highly thought of in terms of coming to LSU. And whether it goes, he picks up the LSU hat tomorrow or not, as Shea said, I'm quoting Shea just from his article, I don't have any insider information on this front, it is going to come down to the wire regardless of what hat he picks up. So if it's an LSU hat, if it's a Texas hat, they will continue recruiting him until pen meets paper, because that is the type of guy you just don't give up on. LSU has been known to get flipped and been known to do some flipping themselves. So with Colin Simmons, you hope that they'll be able to do that. If not, LSU also has some talent in-state and Dominic McKinley that we're going to take a look at here when Jordy gets in, and Stewie is always on the recruiting front, so we'll talk about that. But first off, let's get to what happened and what we saw on day 5 of fall practice. You were not out there yesterday? No, kindergarten. I went out there because you have my pass, dog.
Yeah, I wore your pass to practice.
Oh, you're Lloyd?
Well, okay. So
I guess Lloyd, it covers all bases.
I got out the car and I didn't have my pass, but your pass was in my backpack. So I was like,
Appreciate it. I'm logging hours right now. Those are all billable hours for me.
Yeah, thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Get my name out there. Don't get in trouble. See, you got carte blanche. You can get in trouble and just lose the Lloyd Courtney pass and throw Stewie on.
Exactly.
But on the injury front, we obviously heard some news that Brian Thomas was out 2 days ago on Monday. Fast forward to Tuesday, he is back at practice. He was in and out, did a little bit of 11 on 11. He was in and out of the lineup for 11 on 11, a little bit of 7 on 7. It wasn't a full go, but he was a participant. Greg Brooks left practice on Monday for an undisclosed reason. He came back out in a helmet and a jersey. No pads, didn't participate, but at least he was out there. Pimpton, Neighbors, you're starting to see the odds of camp come to fruition as people are getting a little bit nicked up, banged up, having to get a little bit of treatment during camp, where, especially for a guy like Pimpton who's getting used a lot early on, it feels like they're putting him in a lot of sets with the ones or goal line. He's starting to tighten up a little bit, so he went to the trainer's room, got a little rub down.
Aaron Anderson looked like he was getting a little
they're all
the other day.
Yeah, they're all going to get that dude's a keep him loose because he's tight. That's just all muscle. So when you have, especially early in camp, guys that sat out the majority of, I guess, spring ball, especially like Aaron Anderson. You saw it with Deuce Chestnut, who's adjusting to the heat. And Brian Kelly, actually, there's a clip on that. I think it's clip 1, Stewie, of he kept the guys. I don't know if this was maybe a little message to the team about, hey, whatever happened yesterday, here's a little extra time in the sun. But also, I think it's, if you can get the guys to buy in, this is an absolute advantage for LSU in conditioning, because first game's in Orlando. It may be at night, but that thing's going to be muggy, hot. It ain't going to be easy. And Florida's in the same boat that LSU is, where you could use this the heat to your advantage. And Brian Kelly talks a little bit about that coming up. This is the first question he got during the interview. Queued up whenever you're ready, Stu. This is BK.
We were challenging our football team with the elements. We went, past our original threshold of about an hour to about an hour and 15, 20 minutes outside. The elements are what they are. They're real. But my sense is that, we need to continue to add on to our exposure outside and, build a mindset that, obviously allows us to fight through those times that, mentally, we could possibly lose our concentration because of the environment. And I thought our guys did a pretty good job by and large. In particular, the last couple of periods were a blitz pickup period, which, requires a lot of intensity and focus and concentration. I thought they did a really good job.
So that's PK talking a little bit about, and I don't know if it was a little recompense for maybe throwing hands the first on Tuesday, getting back out in the heat, which I thought was a hell of a move on Tuesday. They throw hands inside, and then you're like, you know what, let's take it outside. And he literally said, "You meet me outside," and they did. And that, of course, tempers flared even more. But
no, they were about to throw hands Monday outside, Monday inside too.
Yeah,
like the linemen got into it first.
Yeah, it was Mason Smith and Charles Turner.
That's where it started, and then it just kind of gradually, I guess the offense started talking a little bit to the offensive players, and the defense started talking to the defense, and they were like, "Look, we got problems.
We gonna do this?" But yeah, I slept on it, and I still feel the same way I felt yesterday. I took my 24 hours. Nope, still pissed.
I still want to fight.
Yeah, I still want to fight. I thought I went to bed thinking about fighting, but. So Brian Kelly sends them back out in the heat. They get a good practice in, it felt like. Whenever you continue to go down the practice report, a couple of the lineups that you're starting to see. With obviously, we talked about a little bit of the injury history, but the starting lineups remain the same as yesterday. Pimpton got a lot of reps, and that's what I think he's getting a little banged up. He's coming out of a high school year where he's seeing his. Not only in high school, but obviously he's seeing his targets ramp up from his junior to his senior year. It's all happening very fast for Pimpton because he's just that good. And he's starting to make waves at LSU where it's a very tight end heavy offense. They want to utilize that position a lot. Mason Taylor is your stalwart at that position. He'll always be available. He talked a little bit to the media, which he'll be having to do his time at LSU because he is the son of a pro. He's super polished. He is only going to get better, it feels like, and I think we have a cut here talking about the tight end room if we want to fast forward a little bit. If you have them ready. Cut 8, Stewie, update on the tight ends. He talked a little bit about Pimpton, Mason Taylor, and his progress. So, yeah, no worries. And he didn't mention Mac Markway, which I found
a little disrespectful.
Well, I think it just might have slipped his mind. Dude's got a loaded tight end room in there. Yeah. So he mentioned, obviously, at the forefront of his mind was Mason Taylor. Brian Kelly was adamant about playing him early. You saw him first game, Florida State, making big plays. Obviously, I think that was probably unfair to have him on the end line after he just had, a 35-yard run and catch, gets out of bounds. Then they score a touchdown. And it's like, all right, go line up and block for an extra point. Coach. Yeah, I'm tired. But if you were to talk about that extra point, I think you'll trade that moment for Brian Kelly looking at the special teams fast forward to November and going, I'm not having that happen again.
Alabama. Mason Taylor again.
We go Mason Taylor. Yeah, we're going for 2. So Mason Taylor had his star turn as a freshman, and Brian Kelly projects what he expects to see from him, as well as the freshman in Pimpton.
Yeah, I mean, including Mason Taylor. Obviously, Mason is back after the surgery where, you can see the potential that he has to be, an All-American type player at that position. He's smart, runs well, great hands, understands the blocking schemes. And then you look at, a bunch of younger players that all have, a huge upside, and they all are a little bit different. Markway, obviously caught the ball very well today, but, he's physical in line, and he gives you that version. I think you look at Pimpton, and the size jumps out at you, and the range, the catching range. I think all of them bring a little bit something different to the table, but all have made great progress. And I think in some fashion, depending on game plan and what we're doing, that they'll all get a chance to compete for us.
Wait, I know we're talking about football right now, but Stewie, a lot of people in the chat, did you see they found the girl?
Yeah, they did.
The You Are Not Real girl?
She's a real person.
She's a real person. How did she avoid being talked about, like being able to comment on it for so long?
Doesn't have a Facebook or anything.
No, she
either.
made her Instagram private. I found it, but it was private. And then she made like her TikTok and her Twitter private. She's like a super successful businesswoman or business person now.
Maybe that's why she doesn't.
Yeah, she's like top 50 in marketing in America, like 50 under 40 or something like that. But good for her. She's real. And she's out there. She's going to get an interview. She's got to go on Rogan or something, I would imagine.
You think she'd get on you think she'd get a joke? Yeah.
Yeah, that was the biggest. I mean, that's right up his alley, dude.
Yeah, and like a conspiracy.
Aliens.
Like, what is it? Like, what'd you see?
So she's back in the news. Excited to see where that turns.
He's going to put her on like Mad Honey and like make her talk.
Well, yeah, whatever. Put her in that same space. She should interview her on an airplane.
Wow.
Make her sit down, face her fears. Wear a hoodie.
That's a good one.
Bring her back to that moment. What'd you see? But obviously a lot of people in the chat reflecting on the Colin Simmons news. Like I said, it doesn't matter what hat he picks up tomorrow, whether it be LSU or Texas. And
that thing's going until December.
yeah, that thing will be all the way to National Signing Day. That's what happens with these kind of players. He's been playing it. Obviously, you saw a lot of the LSU love early. You can't look too much into the social media stuff as much as you want to. LSU has inroads there. It feels like they've made a lot of headway with Colin Simmons, but when Texas comes calling, it becomes a de facto bidding war.
Yeah.
Where it kind of throws the entire recruiting pitch out the window. You got to start playing dollars and cents, and once you start seeing those, like if you watched the Johnny Manziel documentary last night, those dollars make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Whenever you're in college and Johnny said it best. He's like, they kind of spun it to where it seemed like his family had money. They're not poor, but they weren't as well off as, sending Johnny to school with a bags of cash, but he was able to procure some bags of cash. And now that it's all legal, it makes it that much easier to kind of turn your head a little bit and go, why wouldn't I take that? And for Colin Simmons, if that's the route he wants to go, LSU can play with the big boys. But if Texas wants to circle one recruit and say, here, what's the number? Then LSU's going to have a tough time doing it that way, because that's not really the way that they've structured their collective or their NIL approach. It's kind of been very targeted in a way that isn't. It's almost like you're budgeting back in the old Madden where you can't go over the cap. They're running it like almost an NFL franchise where they have allocated money and they don't want to overspend at some position just to get one guy. You see how they've done it in, multiple positions. So we'll see how that plays out. But like I said, it'll come to the finish line. No matter what hat, don't melt tomorrow if he throws on the burnt orange, because I don't think it's over just because he throws on a hat. He's not signing a letter of intent tomorrow. And same thing, while it feels like the confidence level is high in Caden Durham, you know that Frank will probably not let that relationship fracture if Caden Durham throws on the purple and gold. So if you go 1 for 1 there, you have to feel good, but also one of the races does not feel over at the end of the day. So don't melt on the Colin Simmons front, even though Jordy did give the kiss of death on air, where he was just he was on cloud 9 before.
But, I think a lot of people know, sometimes Jordy gets a little overexcited.
Yeah, there's no script with Jordy.
Yeah, he might, might tell you how much he loves a guy.
Yeah.
He might tell you how much he hates a guy.
And then it'll change.
Yeah.
If Colin Simmons goes to Texas, he's going to be a bum.
Yeah. Most likely.
But Cornell didn't melt last year. That was about getting LSU guys, getting Louisiana guys to LSU. That was warranted. Coach heard me.
And I see a couple of people in the chat talking about how the media is overblowing like this fight or the scuffle, and I just want to say like a lot of people have to realize that majority of the media members were never on like a football team probably. Like they never experienced like going through the hot days of camp and like being with your teammates all summer, being with them all early August before school, and like not seeing your parents, not seeing your girlfriend, not seeing nobody else.
That is your family.
But your teammates. And like sometimes it just gets a little hot in the house. We got to fight about it.
Yeah, and I don't think you're wrong to say that, because I feel like a lot of the media guys, they've been watching a lot of football, covering a lot of football, and you almost they're to the age where it's kind of out of sight, out of mind if you did play.
Right.
You know, like I'm sure they all have the similar backgrounds to us, where you played in high school and that was about it. Like Stewie took it to another level where he played a little bit in college, and so he knows it better than any of us do. But it's super warranted for that to happen, and for it, and I think it's just because of the way that it played out. And Brian Kelly talked about this a little bit too. I think he said it in the first cut where we already heard it, but he was saying like the amount of time that they spent together, and it actually might be cut 12 where he's talking about, I don't want to do all these without Jordy because he's going to we'll probably just replay him, but cut 12 when he's talking about Harold Perkins getting in the scuffle and how he made him stay at practice. He kind of cracks a little bit of joke about NIL and how some of the teammates have certain deals, and how Harold Perkins wanted to get in on some of that John Deere money, and nobody laughs because everybody's they don't understand his dry delivery and his dry sense of humor. But he was talking about Perkins being involved in the fight and how the team kind of what it meant to be out there around the guys during the fight. So go ahead and play that with talking about Perk 4.
We were talking about his NIL. What I think he was trying to get a John Deere NIL, and I think the two linemen already have one. And he thought that was probably a good idea not to get one. Yeah. Everything that happens out there are teaching moments, you know. I mean, every day. I mean, that's like so far behind me, you know, yesterday, because they're 18 to 21-year-olds. And so this morning there were so many teaching moments down here in this hallway, in this locker room, that I forgot about yesterday. So, you know, you deal with what happens in front of you, and you try to bring everything back to, you know, what your process is and what you're trying to develop in your program. And so, you know, there'll be moments like that similarly in a couple of days that I'll have to deal with that maybe you won't see, you know. But every day's in my life as a coach is a teaching experience, and so you better take your chance to teach while that happens. And so we made it a teaching moment.
Teachable moment.
It's like that's all it is. It's a teaching moment.
You can't even get a media chuckle.
Right, like
Tiger Woods, tough crowd.
Like, damn.
Tiger Woods is the king of the media chuckle. I guess you got to win a natty to be able to get those laughs.
He gets them like sometimes.
I think it just goes over people's heads.
Yeah, sometimes he'll start the press conference with like a little joke and like he'll get a little chuckle, but like when he does it mid like answer for a question, he doesn't get anything. It's always crickets. Like somebody laugh. Like I kind of want to laugh sometimes, but then I'd feel bad because I'm gonna be
the only one laughing. What if he's serious and you're getting kicked out the presser?
Exactly. Like I'm not trying to get kicked out.
No, but he also comes back in the last clip. I'll save that one for Jay. He's supposed to be here in about 3 minutes, so we might go to break here in a second to get him settled in. I'll wait to hear the door. But there's the last clip that he plays where he finally gets, it's, you know, a little bit behind the scenes where the tension breaks and nobody's really working anymore. And you can see he's got a good working relationship with the media, but I think people are still a little bit trying to figure him out on that front because you don't see him. He's trying to show you some of his personality, but people don't. They're all so work mode and like so hyped up for the football season.
And they think he's in like a work mode, like a serious, like, but he's actually like, he's comfortable. Like I think that's what it is. He's just comfortable, and like people don't realize like how comfortable he is and how confident he is in his team. And he's just like, hey, like, y'all don't want to laugh at my jokes? That's cool.
I'm gonna keep cracking them,
Yeah.
and I think that's a lot of
laugh
I think that's a lot of what it is. People don't know how to read him just yet because
it is still new.
but you can evolve, and like if he evolved from Notre Dame to LSU, and LSU he can go from like he was stressing last year. You could probably see it if we went back and watched it. You could probably see it more now than we could see it today. Like we would notice it more because we didn't know how to get a read on him yet either. We were trying to feel him out, see if what he was going to do, and I think he showed probably his most honest moment from his coaching tenure, from when he set foot on campus to halftime of the Florida State game, where he was getting interviewed. He goes, I just don't know if we could have played much worse. Like what are your adjustments? He goes, I mean, what couldn't we adjust? I don't think we could have played worse. That's the worst half of football I've ever seen. And it's like, I don't know what to tell you.
Jeez, Brian.
Yeah, like that was bad. And it was. And it was a team that was scrambling, and that's why I'm confident going into this Florida State game this year. Not only do you have the factor of a little bit of, I'm going to get you back if you're LSU, because they're returning a lot of the same guys that played in that game. If you think Mason Smith has that game circled just from what could have been injury standpoint, everything happened. Like I saw, I'm staring up at the Superdome ceiling going, why me? I'm not going to be like, when it happens that this is the year. And if you don't think he's motivated, why don't you fast forward 2 more plays and look at Malik Neighbors? You don't think he wants to get back at Florida State? He probably wants to return punts. Like he would love to be back there again because, I mean, you saw him face down in the turf, head on his head, like hands on his head. Just, I can't believe this happened. I can't believe this happened. LSU's able to get a super fortunate fumble on the goal line, goes the distance 99 to score a touchdown, essentially ties it up, misses an extra point to end the game. You storm out the Superdome with an L. But those are the two probably your
two best players.
Well,
two of your better players.
Right. And if you would have put the third one in there, that's the debate. He wasn't even on the field. All he did, he got a personal foul in the first play of the game. Yeah. Running down on kick, he just cracked somebody because he's been waiting to play football for God knows how long on this stage, and he made his presence felt early. And now you're going to have to see Perk for 3 downs because on the next clip that we have, it's another Harold Perkins clip, and they talk about Perkins and how they're moving him around a little bit. No, I'm sorry. This wasn't a clip. This is from the article that we had, courtesy of On 3, where Perkins has been moving around a lot. They said it yesterday at practice. This is from Matthew Brunet. He worked with Matt House at the linebackers. John Janchik worked him at different alignments with Savion Jones, Mekhi Wingo, Mason Smith, and Perkins as his front 4. And then that's the first time apparently they've seen Perkins at like an edge position off linebacker.
Yeah, it's been straight off the ball linebacker.
Yeah.
Like straight.
And
middle.
so to see him put like hand in the dirt, you could see him there's probably going to put together, if you remember old LSU, I say old, but like under the Chavis era when they had like the cheetah package, whenever they would put just speed on the field, and it was 7 guys that could all run you down. And that was LSU football. Everybody was flying to the ball. You didn't know where it was coming from. And when you put Perk on the field, you put, I mean, just because of the amount of attention that Mason Smith is going to get, Mekhi Wingo is going to get, you can put some, and I don't think people realize how good of a blitzer Omar Spates is coming in from Oregon State, where he loves to bring pressure up the middle. He's kind of a lighter backer in my mind. Like he's able to bend and move, and I think he's a hell of a pass rusher. So you'll see that a lot. I think LSU is going to bring pressure from a lot of different spots, and that's where you hope to see. It's going to be feast or famine on the outside from what I've heard from the cornerback position. They still haven't. It's been LaTerrence Welsh. It's been Zy Alexander. It's been Deuce Chestnut on the outside. So there's one way to alleviate that if you don't exactly trust your outside guys, and that's to bring a ton of pressure, make it easier on them, make the quarterback get rid of the ball, but that's also a way to give up big plays. So they'll continue to work on the outside, but if you have a guy like Perkins, Spates, and then you have that front 4 that LSU has, you're going to see pressure continuously come at the quarterback. And Perkins also, he did pass rushing drills, did defensive line drills, did linebacker drills, and then he went to 7-on-7. So Perk is everywhere. They're using him exactly like you'd want him to be used, where he's everywhere but offense right now. And shit, I wouldn't even mind if you put him over there. Go back with the Stingley that I did 2 years ago, where I just wanted to see him on offense just one time. Wanted to see Dante Jackson on offense just one time. They did it against McNeese, got rained out. But it's good to see Perk moving around. I hear Jordy scrambling around over there. We got little Jay to school, so we're going to go to break. This has been 30 minutes unfiltered of the Jordy Culotta Show. driven and powered by RMB Builders. We'll be back. No wonder Jordy battles with this thing, dude.
If you're in the market for a mortgage lender, you need to start with Doug Bickley and his team. Bickley has built a crew with over 50 years of combined lending experience. They've been in business for over 20 years, and they love helping their clients achieve the American dream of home ownership. They're also key with working in real estate agents and helping their clients getting same-day pre-approval. They average about one buyer a day getting them in a home. If you want to get in touch with Doug and his crew, it's easy. Call them 225-214-5154. 225-214-5154. Go see the Bickley team today. They're located on the corner of Coursey Boulevard and Sherwood Forest right here in Baton Rouge. Is it time to wash your house or business? Call the pros at Hydro Wash today. Get them out with their low-pressure, soft-washing cleaning approach. From commercial buildings, rooftops, and residentials, Hydro Wash is ready to get your place shining. Find them on Facebook or call Curtis at 225-933-7068. Take it from me, Hydro Wash came by and made my house look like new. What was best was the professionalism. They picked up everything, made the clean, and then put everything back to where it belonged. Get in touch with Curtis today. Call him at 225-933-7068 or find Hydro Wash on Facebook.
What's up?
What's happening?
Chilling with a couple of cool guys. You?
Chilling and watching some tube. Hold on. Did you do it? Hold on. Did you do it?
Rosa.
Hold on.
Rosa.
Rosa!
Rosa.
Hold on. Hold on. Hold on.
Beautiful roof every single time.
True. True.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Are you looking for sound financial advice? Then get in touch with Daniel Newman of Edward Jones. You can call him today at 225-261-8262 or email him daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. If you're planning for retirement, saving for college, for children or grandchildren, or just looking for sound investment opportunities, get in touch with Daniel today, 225-261-8262, located on Magnolia Square Drive in Central. Daniel Newman of Edward Jones.
You can't put the cart before the horse. That'd be like, will you marry me?
Do I know you?
Never sign a contract with a roofer before he gets on your roof. Call Go Roof instead. We offer a free, no-obligation inspection. A beautiful roof every shingle time. Bobby, goes in the front.
Roof, roof, Go Roof.
All right, welcome back here. Jordy Culotta Show live here on this Wednesday. Shout out to the crew, Stewie and Lloyd, hold it down for the last 35 minutes. Good to be back in studio. Dropped a little Jay off to his official first day of school here on
Syllabus day yesterday.
Wednesday. Yeah, they were feeling it yesterday. You can see I was like, this ain't it, dude. This is not how this is going to be. He was out at noon in the pool until 4, at football until 5 to 7. It was just one of them days. But now back in it and getting into football.
Cream?
See, that's right. That's right.
Sunburnt. Is this? Yeah.
Sunburnt.
I'll feel good on the pads tomorrow.
Shout out to our crew real quick. We put this out to you earlier this week, and the audience has responded. Our crew, Mike Didier, Donnie Bozeman, and the crew have put together the official alligator hunting trip for Matt Markway and the crew, and we made the cut. We'll be there. We're going to bring a video crew out. We're going to get some content on it. It'll be I believe it is the week of the Arkansas game that they will be down. So shout out to the listeners, Mike Didier, Donnie Bozeman, the crew, for coming through for us. Mr. Markway is fired up, man. He is texting. My dude is amped about the gator hunt coming up in South Louisiana. So shout out to the crew and to the audience for helping us out on that and putting this together as that will go down, and we'll be there, man. As we said, we will bring you the content from the hunt, and hopefully we'll have some good times. And
you gonna have Murray holding the camera out there?
I don't know what we're gonna do.
I don't know if that's Murray's speed.
I have no idea what I'm getting into.
Same.
Got no have never had any need, any desire to go gator hunting. But I mean, if I can do it in
the name of content,
right? For the
content,
for the sake of content.
I mean, our boy
just don't end up like Hold the Mayo.
That's what I was about to say. Our boy Hold the Mayo fell off the boat, Coach.
See, but that ain't gonna happen to me.
Well,
I mean, I'm not even gonna be tempted.
That airboat goes about 70.
Yeah, my man was not thinking about that.
He was hanging off the boat trying to get some content and flew off the boat into the riverside. He's like, and it's got to be 11:30 at night. He was like, I thought for sure I was going to be just eaten alive. Like, that would be the first. He got up so fast, dude.
He just gets up like all muddy.
Dude, muddy as hell. And it's funny until you're muddy in the boat, like
Absolutely.
35 minutes later, like, I feel like shit.
Bro,
I'm dirty. It's hot. There's mosquito bugs, pollen.
Oh my God!
Get me out this country.
That is my worst
nightmare.
Well, the mud helps with the bugs.
Yeah, the mud can help with the bugs.
Mud
He's basically naked and afraid. Had to pop the top. They're listening to Juvie in the back. It was just a party.
So we played some sound from Brian Kelly yesterday, and I thought Brian Kelly was very insightful in his addressing of the media, hearing for him the first time this week, first time since all went down earlier this week, first time really since a lot of these position battles are happening now and really kind of getting underway here in training camp. And I know that the fellas played the soundbite on the tight ends, but one of the things that really jumped out after hearing him speak yesterday was the situation that they're in at tight end. And, you know, we talk about Mr. Markway. Mac Markway's name keeps coming up as well. He's kind of a forgotten. Him and McGowan.
Mm-hmm. You talked a little bit about McGowan.
Jackson McGowan.
Yeah.
Is two guys that I think, you know, when you look at the list and you see Kamorian Pimpton, you see Mason Taylor, you see the guys that they have, especially from a playmaking standpoint. Some of the guys we forget about is Mac Markway and Jackson McGowan. I mean, those two guys, I think, really fill out the depth and fill out the the numbers as far as that position has really improved over the last couple of years. We talk really intently about the offensive line, and it's very obvious on how the offensive line has changed their identity since Brian Kelly has been here. Tight end would be as much of a identity switch as any other spot on the field for LSU. And just what they have. I expect Mason Taylor, he was named to the Mackey Award watch list earlier this week, which, you know, goes and recognizes the top tight end in college football. Brian Kelly said it at the end of last season. He really believed he had worked himself and played himself into a top 15 tight end in the country at the end of the year. Taylor is somebody that
it's almost forgotten.
Very much so. I mean, for as much as we talked about the freshman class last season, and for early impact guys and fresh faces that were stepping up, Mason Taylor was almost a guy that was, I agree, forgotten, right? And he's making plays in game 1. I mean, I still remember him sprinting across the field, catching the crossing route, knowing to get out of bounds to give LSU an opportunity at the end of that game. That was a very heady play for a freshman to be put in that spot in his first collegiate game, get that type of responsibility, and really come through mentally. Now, everybody will point to what happened on the PAT on the field goal at the end of the game and him missing his block. That's, to me, and I'm not trying to shift focus or shift blame here, but that's on the coaches. I mean, you got a true freshman guarding the backside of a field goal. I don't feel confident that everything's going to go right. But, all in all, at the rate his freshman season closed, the plays that he made throughout the year, and now setting himself up for year 2 in an offense that Brian Kelly is just obsessive about using the tight end. Obsessive about how and where he fits in the offense. So to have Taylor and a crew, man, I just, we talk about the weapons that Jayden Daniels has around him. Sometimes we don't go down the list of tight ends that they have, much less even mention a guy like Mason Taylor. Another spot that Brian Kelly seems to be pretty giddy about. Have y'all played 13 here on the punt returners?
Nope.
Is Kelly talking about who is going to be the punt returner on this team? And look, for me, man, this is something that I have always been passionate about, because one thing that has been constant since I have been watching LSU football since I was a kid is that they have always had a playmaker at punt returner. It didn't matter if they were bad. It didn't matter if they were elite. It didn't matter where they were from a competitive standpoint. I still remember watching Todd Kinchin bring back punts with Curly Holman.
They put Todd back there?
Did they put him back there? He was electric.
Hell yeah.
I mean, I still remember holding the deuces up when Eddie Kinnison would be standing back waiting on punts, ready to change the scoreboard. Right? I mean, like Kevin Falk, Skylar Green, Patrick Peterson,
Chad Jones,
Tyrann Mathieu, Chad Jones. I mean, like, the list just keeps
Odell Beckham
going.
Jr.
I mean, my bad. I left him off.
Derek Stingley Jr. never had to do it because the offense was too good.
But, like, that's where the identity started to shift, right? Which I agree with that method. Like, if you got Joe Burrow and you got the best offense in college football history, fair catch everything.
Take it at the 20.
I mean, like, even if you got Kevin Falk back there, you don't need him. But that's not the. I mean, like that's not the norm, right? Like, I mean, that's not going to. You can't count on that. So for LSU to get back to having a scoreboard changer at punt returner, it just makes too much sense. The recruiting says that you almost have to. I mean, there's always going to be a guy sitting in the corner of the locker room that's DJ Chark. You know what I mean? Like, let him do it. Oh, never mind. He's a first-round pick. Was he a second-round pick?
Second round.
Second-round pick?
Yeah, but I mean,
he was
first-round pick speed.
Yeah. First-round pick skill, too.
I mean, really.
Oh, but he just never got utilized.
Where's he at, Carolina?
Yep.
Yeah, he's a 2-contract guy. That's the most important thing to him. Mm-hmm. But the only time you saw him was
3 contracts.
3 contracts. You saw Texas Tech.
Contracts.
He takes the reverse 80 yards, and everybody goes, "Who's that?
Who's 82?
Who's 82 going 80 on your head and
running straight up?
And people
flying.
People are getting farther away from him.
150 pounds.
Yeah.
Like,
But the story on him was he was going to transfer if he didn't play that game.
Sure.
And that's the amount of talent that you fast forward to the Auburn game. If you don't have DJ Chark, you don't win.
Goodness. Called it punt return too.
Oh, it was set up.
It was a great moment.
Great moment.
Almost a block in the back on Greedy Williams, but we got
short
past
field, short punt, not high. Just we back up a couple steps. I'm gone. What is it? 17-0.
Yes.
17-7.
That was a Grand Delta game.
Mm-hmm.
Trenton Holiday didn't catch. He wasn't a punt returner, though,
No.
was he? No, he was a kickoff.
He went back there a couple of times, but he bobbled him at the
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
And so it just became a Chad get back there and catch it.
Punt return is a big footwork thing.
Yeah, the
It
ball
is.
is coming.
It's kind of like catching a fly ball in a sense. Like you gotta
Absolutely.
Catch it with your feet.
Yeah, you gotta catch it with your
Much
feet.
rather catch one outdoors than in a dome.
Yes. Oh, yeah, them lights. Are,
Like Malik,
Oh,
I
yeah.
get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, and then once you get it in your head,
It's like
I don't think I can see.
who was it for the rant? Was it Oz Hakeem?
Mm-hmm.
That day that
Hakeem dropped the ball.
I mean, the Saints, like the first playoff win or whatever it was, it's so long. I mean, Hakeem lost the ball on the lights in the dome.
Dropped it on the 20.
just
It's a tough spot, man. I mean, like punt returner is a tough spot, and for LSU to get, to get that guy, it sounds like Aaron Anderson's going to be the dude.
Yeah.
If you want to catch it, it sounds like Greg Clayton can catch everything.
Yeah.
And then they've got guys back there that they're just kind of like flirting with. Kyle Parker seems to be everywhere.
yeah. I would say like I would hold off on Kyle Parker for a little while.
At punt returner?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think they're trying to find a spot for him.
Right.
on
They're
the
just,
field.
they
they're-
want-
I
they
mean, they
want
got
him
him
to
back
touch
at
the ball.
kickoff returner.
Yeah.
They got him
Yeah.
at punt returner. They're playing him. I mean, like,
I would just hold off on him being the punt returner right
Yeah, I wouldn't put
Freshman
another
back
young.
there.
Yeah.
not when you got
yeah,
one.
yeah.
What was the stat that that Shea said about Aaron
He had
Anderson?
18 special team touchdowns in high school.
I mean,
Coach,
he had 3
that's a
in one
good.
game.
That is a stellar career. If you score 18 touchdowns in your high school career, I mean, like that's a pretty solid career. If you can score 18 total, he had 18 special teams touchdowns in his 4 years playing for Carr. I mean, like, it wasn't like he's playing for like Pineville.
Hey.
Sorry,
No disrespect.
sorry,
but,
no
you know.
disrespect, but
I see you, Pookie. You out there shining. But it seems like somebody in high school, if you're playing Ed in the car, those 4 years would be like, hey, let's not punt it.
especially like, did
He has-
y'all watch Algiers America when they played Curtis?
Yeah. This is.
I mean,
kick it
like,
to him 3 times.
no way he kicks it to him again, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, like Kenny Trahan before he's like, no way he kicks it to him again, huh?
Kicked it to him.
I mean, like, Aaron Anderson underneath it. It looks like he's going to have another chance to field it.
Anderson with room.
I mean, like, makes one man miss it. Here we go.
He's off to the races.
like, third touchdown. Like, don't quit kicking it to him.
Like, don't kick it to him anymore.
But
Actually, kick it out of bounds.
LSU's got that dude now at punt returner. Play the clip, Suey. This is Brian Kelly talking about his punt returners yesterday. As much as he was giddy about the tight ends, he was as fired up about this group.
It's like he's something he's never seen before.
I like what I see back there. I mean,
I bet.
Aaron's pretty fluid, if that's the right word. I mean, it comes natural to him. I think yesterday, Jay was kicking with the wind, and maybe he probably could have got back on a couple of balls a little sooner, but he is really natural with the football. Kyle Parker, I think, looks really good back there, too. Clayton has been really money for us. So I like where we are there. I feel a whole lot better than I did last year at this time. So I feel really good about that and where we're going to go. And, I don't want to get out too far, but I believe it's going to be a positive weapon for us, and hope to see that come to fruition.
Translation, he's absolutely in love with his punt returners. Like, he's trying not to tell you how much, or he's trying not to tell them, it sounds like how much he is excited about this group. I mean, like, everything he was, feel really bad, feel really good about it, much more better than I did about it this time last year.
He even gave the, look away from the camera and just.
Like, I am in a
I love
great
these
spot.
guys.
I'm in such a great spot at punt returner. Like, almost like nobody has any idea.
They don't even know.
Like, Bama has no idea. I'm doing it with their guy. Like, I'm about to do it with their dude.
Saban wants to fight.
I mean, it's just, I think that they're going to be electric again. Another cool story I think he told yesterday. Did y'all tell the Trey Bradford?
Mm-mm.
This is great. I mean, like, I think this has been a curious story. right? I have been. Like, how did this happen? Right? Like, how did Trey Bradford end up back at LSU? Not only that, like, I'm telling you, the more people you talk to around the program, Bradford is going to play. Like, there's no question on whether or not he's going to play. Really, the question at this point to me is he going to be in the discussion of being like their guy? I think they want to get to two guys ultimately. And I think that they'll pepper in a little bit of everybody else, right? But a combination of some type of combo that you see with a veteran and a newcomer, right? They love Caleb Jackson, but I think that he's just got a lot more to learn about just being a football player. A lot of stuff that Caleb Jackson has done is just like, hey, man, here's a toss, outrun everybody.
Run over some people.
You know what I mean? Like, just nobody can tackle you.
Caleb here.
Yeah, right.
Go.
Like, here you go, man. I don't think that, and this is no disrespect at all, and I think you see this a lot for guys that come in to college football on a program or at least an experience where, they're that much of the man. Right? I think even Leonard Fournette went through this, if you ask Frank Wilson, where you had to, like, teach him about football. Well, what do you mean? Like protection. Like seeing the hole, like reading a block, like waiting and being patient on stuff. I mean, just these God-given abilities that they had gotten themselves to this point. They were like, well, it's not this easy for the rest of our life. We're like, no, man. I mean, it's not. Hey, wait till you learn how to become a technical football player. Like, really how to block somebody.
You can actually make this easier for
right,
you.
Like, and that's what they're doing with Harold Perkins. That's, they're moving him to middle linebacker. No, they're not. They're not moving him to. They're teaching him how to play football. Get off the blocks, beat the double team, play in space. Get out of your stance and getting into defending, getting into open space and being able to guard, being able to play. All of the intricacies of being a football player, where it's not just like roll the ball out and like watch this guy run. Because all these guys get to a level where at some point everybody can run. Everybody can play. I mean, people looked at Fournette when he was a 15-year-old and said he's a pro. Nobody really wanted to teach him how to play football until Frank got his hands on him. And I don't mean that that's not like he was the number one player in the country. What are you supposed to do? You know what I mean? Like, they're trying to win games. I get it. And it's not as if they're, not showing up to practice and teaching, but it's just like it gets so simple where you're like, hey, Leonard, here, man, just toss sweep right.
Actually, just get a quarterback and just power left.
Caleb Jackson, same type of player, and then he gets to LSU, and you've got guys like Noah Cain, Logan Diggs, John Emery. John Emery's been playing football at the college level for 5 years now.
And John Emery's in the same boat. I was the number one player in the country.
Right, but he went through all of that, right?
Number one running back, yeah.
He went through all of that where he had to kind of like, wait, it's not just
that's what I'm saying. Like, if you're Caleb Jackson.
Off tackle right and I score?
Yeah.
It's like, no, man,
football?
This isn't De La Salle anymore. I mean, like, it's like.
It's Bama.
Yeah, I mean, like, this is Florida. Like, you got to know who you got to block. If not, Burrow's going to bench you.
If your left foot's a little bit ahead of your right foot, they know where you're going.
And, like, that's where they are. But I think they want a combination of, two guys that you can really offensively game plan for if you're LSU to know what you're getting going into the game. And then you pepper in some of this depth that you have.
And you say two guys, like, lately in practice has been Noah Cain and Logan Diggs. And I think that'll be probably the move that they go with Florida State. Like, that'll be the duo that they take into Florida State.
If you ask me right now, who do they trust the most? That would be my first two choices.
Same.
Have you played that Caleb Jackson clip yet?
No. I want to play the real quick. I want to play before we get to the Caleb Jackson clip. I want to play number 6, Trey Bradford, on how Bradford got back. Because one thing I think about Bradford, he may not be the guy about Florida State, but at some point Bradford is going to be a big part of this offense. Whether he is consistently a big part of this offense is going to be up to him. They are going to give him an opportunity to be a playmaker on this offense. He's through the first week of camp has been standing out, and I know he had a incredible summer.
he looks so much more physical, like so much more physically ready.
It looks
like he got the message.
He got the foot. Yeah, like I'm playing football.
Like, okay, all the BS is over. Like it's time to get serious. Here is Brian Kelly talking about his running back Trey Bradford.
The thought process was just giving a man another chance. Really, he had a long road. I mean, he had to get back into school on his own. We didn't help him. He had to do everything and do it on his own. And the way we left it with him was that, look, we're open to second chances here, but this one is on you. You've got to prove yourself. You've got to prove yourself to the university, and it's going to be up to the university to decide whether they want to re-enroll you. We're not going to make any calls. We're not writing any letters. And if you understand what the guidelines are, and you're able to do that, and then you come here this summer, and our strength coaches sign off on you that you've done everything to warrant an opportunity, then we'll invite you to camp. And both of those things happened. So he earned a second chance.
Earned his coach's trust, put in the work in the weight room in the offseason, and now here in fall camp is one of the names that's really popping early on. Watch out for Trey Bradford. He'll have an opportunity in a very crowded running back room. Daily, we're brought to you by Hughes Mechanical Contractors. Remember, if you're in the market for residential, commercial, if you need maintenance on your AC, on your HVAC, get in touch with Hughes Mechanical today. They're online at hughesmechanical.net, or you can call Travis and the crew at 225-658-2147. They are a trusted Daikin performer over at Hughes Mechanical, hughesmechanical.net, located in Zachary, Louisiana. Get in touch with them on AC and heating. Right now, of course, air conditions are having a tough time keeping up. Get in touch with Hughes Mechanical and let them get out, service your unit today. Let them take a look at it and get it back up to speed and make sure in keeping you cool here in this hot August month. If you need service on your AC, if you need a brand new AC, get in touch with Hughes Mechanical Contractors, a trusted Daikin realtor over at Hughes Mechanical. 225-658-2147, 225-658-2147 is how you call today over at Hughes Mechanical. Hughes Mechanical Contractors. Get in touch with them and tell them you heard it right here on the Jordy Culotta Show. We'll be back, hour two. We'll have more from Brian Kelly. We'll have that clip on Caleb Jackson, more on the running back spot. As we said, they really want to get to a trusted rotation in a very crowded room. We'll see how they get to those guys and get to those numbers as we get back here on the Jordy Culotta Show, daily, powered and built by RMB Builders.
Red Stick Sports, a local staple in Baton Rouge to all sports fans, was founded back in 1981 and has remained a family business for over 40 years. Today, they still have the great selection on the floor, but they're also a leader in custom apparel for businesses, sports teams, and other groups. Take it from us, everybody over here at FM Digital Media. They help us out with all of our apparel. Let them help you out today. Go ask for Cody over at Red Stick Sports. Check him out online at redsticksports.biz.
We're all from different places and backgrounds. We've each experienced our own versions of life, but in the end, we're all on the same team. I'm part of that team, along with these players in purple and gold.
Kayshawn Buddha, Malik Neighbors, Miles Frazier,
Kyron Lacey, Greg Brooks. Whether on the field or in the courtroom, your team matters.
So join our team.
Make a difference.
Bet. Let's get it done.
The Jordy Culotta Show is brought to you by A-Bears Lawn Maintenance. Commercial or residential, A-Bears Lawn Maintenance is ready to work. A-Bears can tackle all your homeowners association requirements. Call Blake at 225-485-8022. A-Bears Lawn Maintenance.
In a wreck, Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys is ready to go to work for you. Come meet your team.
I'm your intake specialist. I coordinate your case and connect you with your attorney and paralegal.
That's us, your legal team.
Thanks. And we'll fight to get you every dollar you deserve.
I'm your settlements and disbursement manager, and I'm here to get you paid on time.
I'm attorney Gordon McKernan. Put our team to work today. Just call us. Get it done.
Hey Tiger fans, when you're traveling through Natchez, Mississippi, make sure to visit Tom and Wright Granting at Go-Mart and On The Go Deli, where you can fill up your tank and your belly. Go-Mart has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you may need on your trip. Located at 4 Sergeant Prentice Drive as you're entering Natchez on the left. Also stop by Wardo's Po' Boys at 309 North Broadway on the beautiful Natchez Bluff, where the Po' Boys are so good you'll swear you're in Cajun country.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
If you're in the market for a mortgage lender, you need to start with Doug Bickley and his team. Bickley has built a crew with over 50 years of combined lending experience. They've been in business for over 20 years, and they love helping their clients achieve the American dream of home ownership. They're also key with working in real estate agents and helping their clients getting same-day pre-approval. They average about one buyer a day getting them in a home. If you want to get in touch with Doug and his crew, it's easy. Call them 225-214-5154. 225-214-5154. Go see the Bickley team today. They're located on the corner of Coursey Boulevard and Sherwood Forest right here in Baton Rouge. Is it time to wash your house or business? Call the pros at Hydro Wash today. Get them out with their low-pressure, soft-washing cleaning approach. From commercial buildings, rooftops, and residentials, Hydro Wash is ready to get your place shining. Find them on Facebook or call Curtis at 225-933-7068. Take it from me, Hydro Wash came by and made my house look like new. What was best was the professionalism. They picked up everything, made the clean, and then put everything back to where it belonged. Get in touch with Curtis today. Call him at 225-933-7068 or find Hydro Wash on Facebook. Welcome back here. Jordy Culotta Show is always built by RMB Builders and live here on this Wednesday. Make sure and give us a like, share, comment if you don't mind. If you've not subscribed to the channel, we appreciate your subscription before you get out of here.
If you want to click that bell, you'll know when we go live. Construction started on the studio yesterday. We'll be over at Click Here Digital Studios, hopefully, over the next couple of weeks, definitely before football season. Lloyd has seen the space. He has seen what we'll be working with. It's going to be good.
Shake it
man.
fast. Watch yourself.
Gotta get over there and go see this thing.
Show me what you're working with. It's awesome. Both buildings. They got a good little thing going over there.
It's a good buzz over there.
It's like a where it's like a Silicon Valley in Baton Rouge. They got a dog in the office. They got whiteboards everywhere. Got a ping pong table. It was sick.
People's minds are blown when they find out that it's sitting right in the middle of Baton Rouge.
Yeah, ping pong table. The dog just came right up to me. I was like, "Is this?" They're like, "Oh, it's the company dog." I was like, "Yeah." He just followed me around. I gave him a couple scritches, and then we're boys. Cute as hell.
Dude gets in everywhere, man.
Yeah, he's in all the meetings.
Everywhere. Click Here Digital Media. They are now our new house, our new home, man. We are fired up to be over there. Ton of cool stuff happening at Click Here Digital. I tell you all the time, man. Top 3% marketing agency in the country. Number 1 digital marketing consultants in the state of Louisiana. If you run automotive, they've got great experience on auto dealerships, helping people around the country, including the number 1 auto dealership in the U.S. in Hendrick Automotive. Check them out online, clickheredigital.com, clickheredigital.com. Our studios will be live over there, hopefully, in the next couple of weeks. Definitely, as we said, before football season, as we will be coming to you from over there. Speaking of football season, huge commitments coming tomorrow in the recruiting world. Everybody will be paying attention to Duncanville High School as Duncanville hosts their annual media day, where they will have the media from around Texas and around high school athletics around the country covering recruiting, going into Duncanville to cover media day. And look, it would be a huge gathering if it was just media day, right? Like if it was just Duncanville announcing that they're going to have, an open opportunity to the press to come talk to these high-end recruits. But Duncanville has added even more on top of it and has, 2 of their top players, 2 of their best players committing tomorrow from their high school with an LSU hat on the table. You got Jayden Daniel, who's a 4-star running back and is a standout track athlete. If you've seen his highlights, he is just special, man. He looks like a gazelle running in the open field. It's amazing how fast he is.
Some cars have that extra gear.
Yes.
He can find 6th gear pretty easily.
He is a Ferrari on a football field. It is Jayden Daniel is down to LSU and Oklahoma and Texas A&M. And then the number 1 player in the state of Texas and the number 1 edge rusher in the country, 5-star defensive end Colin Simmons, is going to make his choice where it comes down to LSU, Texas, and Miami. I will tell you this. I talked to somebody on the Texas staff on Monday. Take your guess on who that might be, right? He was actually giving me a call about what was happening on Mic'd Up. He was like, what's going on? He was like, I'm getting all these tweets.
Oh,
he's like, people are coming after you. I'm talking about Brandon Harris, the LSU, the former LSU quarterback in the
that
Texas.
That's personal. I don't know why Jack was
Texas
so fired up.
Quarterbacks coach.
Brought up North Carolina.
I think Harris put out a tweet that was like, "This is Texas" or something.
Oh yeah.
And then he said, the next thing you know, he's like, something happened affiliated with the Jordy Culotta show, and I'm like, what? I'm like, huh? I'm like, Brandon, I don't even know what you're talking about. And he's like, was that Mikey Matuk? And I'm like, oh, mic'd up? And he's like, yeah, some little dude on their show's like coming after me, and the next thing I know, all of my stuff's like blowing up. He's like,
welcome to the Thunderdome.
Yeah, it's like, you're welcome, bro.
It's just good. All pub is good pub.
So Harris and I get into, I was driving to New Orleans, and I'm telling you, he calls me as I'm like turning onto the interstate on Bluebonnet, and we hang up as I am exiting on Chapatoulas. It was awesome. We talked for a full hour. It was cool to catch up. He just got married. Congratulations to Harris and his beautiful bride, actually a former LSU track athlete.
Undefeated.
That's right, South Louisiana. But Harris, who is doing a phenomenal job, man, at Texas, and is a really good dude and one of my favorites. We talked a little bit about Derek Williams. Williams is standing out over there to possibly start as a true freshman for them at safety. But I said, so what's the deal on Simmons? He was like, oh, we're getting him. I was like, huh? He was like, wow, what you hearing over there? I was like, same thing you just said. He was like, nah. He's like, I don't know. I just wanted to see what you would say. I was like, I said, so what has this been like? He was like, yeah, it's been wild, man. I mean, this is 5-star #1 player in the state. And no matter what happens tomorrow, both schools have to keep their foot mashed down on the gas pedal, right, to keep this thing firm towards the finish line. I will tell you that I have since spoken to LSU again and people that are, on the staff, and LSU is feeling extremely confident about tomorrow. And speaking to, a member of the Texas staff, they feel extremely confident about tomorrow. I think this is truly one of those deals where, like Frank Wilson said, whoever has him, I believe knows, right? Whether it's Steve Sarkisian or Brian Kelly or someone like Frank Wilson on LSU staff. I mean, they've got like the firm, as Wilson said, if you're curious when they announce, you ain't getting them. But it truly is a spot where, I don't really have connections like this in the recruiting world. I've got some connections within the coaching world that you're able to tap into and resource. But just in this instance, when it comes down to LSU and Texas, you've got really good relationships on both staff, and both staff feels like
50-50.
They had him. So
people are blaming you for this.
Blaming me?
Yeah, so it's your fault.
Which part?
To Colin Simmons.
Yeah, because you were all.
You were saying
really
signed, sealed, delivered.
Yeah.
Book it.
Oh, I still am.
I'm doubling down.
Yeah, right. Like, at this point, I'm doubling down.
I'd like to split.
I've been telling you for a week and a half now that Simmons is coming to LSU. 24 hours out, I'm guaranteeing he's coming to LSU.
He said, "Oh, is that my chips?"
How about that? I'm shoving them all in. Colin Durham, excuse me.
Oh, both of them.
I'm sorry. That's right.
Put them together.
That's right.
We'll take
Toy
both.
Story
10
1.
stars for you tomorrow.
We'll take the fusion.
LSU. How about that?
What
10
position?
stars coming your way. Culotta's so dramatic. No, I'm not. I'm telling you the truth. Durham and Simmons, both of them committing to LSU tomorrow. What time is it at, Stewie?
1:45.
1:45.
4 minutes to go.
Wait,
I'm not plugged into the recruiting world.
Is that the same time?
Yeah, it's Central Time.
No, I'm saying are they committing at the same time?
Yeah, that's when the ceremony starts. So I would imagine that they'll do like a little.
So 1:45 is the start time?
Yeah. So
over under commitment 2:30. Both of them.
Over. Because you got to do the 15-minute intro, podium setup.
Yeah,
we know how the recruiting world works. There's probably a video that they need to play.
Oh God!
Can we kill those lights? The Shelton Sampson commitment.
We can't play video, but
I airdropped you a 4-minute video. Can you get that? No. Well, they expect you to play it. We start in 4 minutes.
You have to play the video.
Yeah.
Well, but we just told you we can't do
play
videos.
All right.
Okay.
We'll get there. We'll make it work.
All right.
He's coming to LSU. Let's go.
Are we live?
Yeah. Is this working? Is this thing on?
Thing should be working.
Good Lord.
Was Joe there?
Oh, yeah.
That's right. Joe was indeed there.
Yo, bro.
I mean, he saved the day. Every time. He's the one that when we went to a certain high school, he climbed the rafters. And he's like, we don't have Ethernet. He's like, yes, you do.
Joe was cutting holes in some walls.
Yeah. St. James was his best work.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, St. James, they were cooked.
He started cutting holes in the walls.
He was doing the...
He's putting wires to the walls.
He's like, oh, it's right here.
This man busted out a knife and just started...
We're live.
They're 5A. They can afford it.
Public school.
Yeah, that's exactly what
that's
he
right.
said.
Spread the word in the recruiting world. Tell everybody. Culotta shows put the crystal ball in. Is that what they do around the? Is that what they do?
RPM.
Colin Simmons and Jayden Durham. LSU picks up 10 stars tomorrow.
5 puffs.
10 stars one day.
Oh man, but I think Shay even that's what I was saying before you got here. We were talking a little bit about this because I know Stewie's plugged into the recruiting world, so I wanted to be able to get his input. But Shay put out an article yesterday saying that regardless of what Hattie picks up, Colin Simmons,
yeah, no doubt,
it's going to go to the end, right?
No.
You don't. It's apparently there's been a big push by Texas to be able to keep him in state. Obviously, you probably heard the same thing from Brandon Harris, but they're kind of late to the game. It feels like in terms of what LSU was willing to do and willing to how much they were pressing him, and Texas oh shit, we might lose him.
Yeah.
And so they started to put all their offensive up.
I think LSU really won it up to this point over the recruiting of the family. You really have to. There is not a lot of difference of what Texas and LSU can tell Colin Simmons about what they can do for him. Really. And if it comes down to money on somebody like Colin Simmons, where it feels like Texas can outbid everybody, and they can, LSU doesn't really play the NIL game in recruiting. As much as that may be hard to believe, they don't play it overwhelmingly in recruiting. LSU uses their NIL better than anybody to recruit their own. Think about it. Who has all the NIL deals? Angel Reese, Mason Smith, right? Jayden Daniels, Dylan Cruz, right? All the people that are already on campus. So you have really some negotiating leverage if you need to dip into it for a recruit. Well, you're not supposed to pay for play. Well, okay. Well, this is all happening. This is how you do this stuff now. But when you've got one like Colin Simmons, where you're like, hey, look, man, we don't do it regularly, but if there's one that you kind of make
dip into the fun,
an exception to the rule for, this is who you do it. And so from an NIL standpoint, from a money standpoint, it's almost dollar for dollar. From a playing time standpoint, Colin, you play as soon as you show up. From an academic standpoint, you can be whatever you want to be. We'll take you to any department, any school, any professor, any head of department, sit down, tell you how you can graduate in that particular study in 3 years. It's apples to apples when it comes down to recruiting a 5-star athlete at LSU and Texas and Georgia and Alabama and Texas A&M and Tennessee. It's a lot of the same pitches. It's a lot of the same things. How are you going to form that relationship with the people that matter? One thing that Orgeron really taught us in recruiting was he always found the champion, is what he called them. And he would go after the champion, and he would recruit that person harder than they recruited the prospect. He would almost pass the prospect off to Dennis Johnson, off to Meatball. You know what I mean? Be like, keep Rashard Lawrence happy. I'm going to get his daddy. And once he had Big Rashard on board, it was over. It was over.
Wasn't Rashard Lawrence about to
going to Ohio State?
Yeah.
People don't know this. Rashard Lawrence was going to Ohio State, I think. It was well known in the circles. He was not coming to LSU.
Damn, that would hurt.
His uncle was a standout at LSU, Oliver Lawrence, back in the late 80s, who they were recruiting very hard. And Oliver Lawrence gave him the inside tip, you don't have to win me. You don't have to win. You don't have to win even the mom. You need to go win the dad. And Orgeron was like, give me a Red Bull.
Let me take my shirt off.
Right,
full point stance.
I got it.
Ed, come with me.
Next thing you know, the guy's the captain of the national championship team.
We're going to have him playing 2 gaps.
You know what I mean? It's that type of stuff. It's not the recruitment of Colin Simmons that's going to win this. It's Frank Wilson understanding who he's got to go get, the mom in this instance, and let her know that she's got an open road to Baton Rouge, and your younger brother, in Simmons' case, who battles from autism, is going to be treated as if he is in the program, that he is a part of LSU's family, that he's an LSU Tiger. This is where you're going to stay when you get here. This is where you're going to eat when you get. This is what you're going to drive when you get. This is all the perks that you're going to be and have by your son playing here. And anytime you need that information given back to you, anytime you have a question about that, anytime you feel insecure that it's not going to happen, you call me. Right here. Not on this phone, on this phone. The one I always pick up. You promise you'll pick up for me, Mr. Frank? I promise I'll pick up for you. Now give me a big hug and go back home and
put that purple and gold on.
Announce you're going to LSU on August 10th.
Love you, son.
I mean, when LSU gets Colin Simmons tomorrow, it will be because of that. Not because they showed him what he can do playing opposite of Harold Perkins, standing up, coming off the edge. Which had to get him going a little bit.
Yeah.
Right?
That's a one-year decision.
But that's how they're winning it. That's how they're going to get him. Daily, we're brought to you by Go Roof. Remember, our friends over at Go Roof can help you with residential roofing or commercial roofing. Speaking of commercial roofing, the services include over at Go Roof, volume builders, multifamily apartment condos, motels, hotels, Holiday Inns, restaurants, metal roofs, modified roofs. They can help you out today over at Go Roof. GEAUX roof.com. A beautiful roof every shingle time. Get in touch with our friends over at Go Roof. Easiest way to do it, as we say, is online at GEAUXroof.com. That's free, no obligation roof inspection. They'll put somebody up on the roof today for free. They'll inspect your roof. They had some storms come through again yesterday. If the roof was damaged, they can let you know. If you need a new roof, they'll work with the insurance company. Never sign that you will always get more than just that one quote from our friends over at Go Roof. Find out how they can help you today online at GEAUXroof.com. That is GEAUXroof.com. Remember our friends over at Go Roof, a beautiful roof every shingle time. You can get a free quote online if you want to do that. That's probably the easiest way. Their phone number is 225-401-1117, 401-1117. But just go roof.com, GEAUXroof.com. Request a free quote right there online, and they'll get you taken care of. So shout out to Go Roof. So expect a big day for LSU tomorrow. Back to these Brian Kelly cuts real quick, Stewie. I want to get back to what he said about Caleb Jackson just to finish our point on the running back. He nearly calls Caleb Jackson a freak. He catches himself. Watch Brian Kelly. You can see him. I don't want to call him that. He's about to call him a freak. He is a freak. He calls him a freak behind closed doors. He didn't want to say that to the public. That's what they think about Jackson. They're like, oh my God. Look at this guy. He's the biggest, strongest, fastest in the room right now. He didn't even know how to block backside.
He's coming off a broken ankle.
I mean, once this guy learns how to play football, he is going to be a top 10 pick in a day and age where running backs don't even matter.
Going to have Caleb Jackson,
Trey Holly, and Caden Durham are going to be in that room in 3 years.
Caden Durham, and then Harlan Berry.
Harlan Berry and the one from North Louisiana that we've got to find his name.
James Simon.
James Simon. Thank you, Stewie. This was Brian Kelly talking about Caleb Jackson, number 11, Stewie.
Well, he's big, he's physical, he's strong, but he's raw. And so a lot of the work with Caleb is ball security, low pads, the nuances of the game, which, when you have a physical, I don't want to use the word, but just a guy that has that kind of prowess at the position, those are good things to work on, right? We don't have to worry about some of the other things. So it's just the details with him, and that's a good thing. Trey's a little bit ahead in the sense that he had the spring, so he knows the playbook a little bit better. And then a collection of experienced backs that have, a a different style. Each one of them has a little bit that they can offer. So, look, we got one football. That hasn't changed. So, we'll figure it out as it goes. But my guess is that, it always ends up coming back to the guys with the most experience end up kind of rising to the top and taking it over.
Noah Cain, Logan Diggs.
Yeah. He kind of just...
He just told you.
He just told you without telling you.
John Emery has a lot of experience. But Armani Goodwin was running with the ones yesterday. There's Armani and Noah Cain. They're going to work them all in.
Yeah. Armani, I think Armani just needs to get back into it.
Is Josh Williams out there?
Yeah, he is. But
he wasn't out there yesterday. I think he was
lost in the shuffle.
No, he just wasn't. I think he was getting treatment. I just think he's all good. He just wasn't.
I mean,
the rigors of camp.
That explanation he just gave sounded like it described him as well.
Yeah, Josh Williams, Noah Cain.
There's so many running backs.
And that's the only thing that almost concerns me.
I can't wait to see until Caleb Jackson gets
it.
I know.
Yeah, I know.
When he figures it out, it's like, damn.
You might see it week 2.
Yeah.
Might see it week 1. Like, just give him one.
One time. Yeah, right.
All it takes is one, coach.
Talk about a change of pace, coach.
Oh, my goodness.
Third, fourth quarter, hit you with that straight wham with him.
That Caleb Jackson
what
pass.
The hell is that?
Like, wow.
It's a Mack truck running at you.
He has a burst.
Mm-hmm. But that's the only thing that could, if it's going to be a concern, is finding any continuity with the running game. I guess they're going to go by. I mean, I trust Frank Wilson to do that and kind of relay the message of but it's going to be the flow of the game, right? Whoever they think is, it's almost the Les Miles theory, where you have Keelan. I know, but it wasn't a bad problem then. They just ran the ball so much. It was like running back by committee. You had Charles Scott, Keelan Williams, Richard Murphy, like whoever you wanted to plug in, it all kind of worked. For this, it doesn't feel like LSU is that run heavy, and so it's almost either scenario specific, which I don't want there to be a tell on the offensive end. Whenever he's in, they're going to do that. I'm just interested to see how they manage that stable of running backs, and if it's going to be you come in during this scenario, because there's obviously guys that are better at pass pro, a la Josh Williams. There's guys that are explosive, John Emery, Armani Goodwin. Then there's guys that you can rely on to get you 3 and 4 yards, whether it be Noah Cain, Caleb Jackson, where you're just bigger than everybody, and it's like, all right, lean forward and get us 3. Like, I'm just wondering how they're going to – because LSU's not going to run the ball 30 times a game unless you count Jayden Daniel's carries as well.
I'd put Logan Diggs in that, playmaker. Because, I mean, he had the most rushing yards out of this whole group last year.
Yeah, but, I mean, that's just the Notre Dame offense, though. It felt like they got a little – they didn't know who their quarterback was.
But he wasn't the main, back.
Yeah, he was kind of in the same situation he's in now. But and a lot of those yards came in that bowl game. He had, went over for 200. Yeah. I don't think he had I think he only had, one other game where he went over 100, maybe 1 or 2. But, a lot of people are skewed by that last game, but it shows what he can do. And I think he's been a solid back, but – I think that's what LSU is going to be more relying on the run game, is just be solid. You don't have to be a game breaker.
No, without question. I mean, I think it's a luxury really on this offense to have that amount of selection in an area of the game where, the best player on the team is probably, or the best, potentially the best player on the offense is going to be the leading rusher in Jayden Daniels, right? So you don't even have to put this pressure on somebody in the room like, hey, man, you got to carry the load. You got to be the leading rusher each week. It's probably going to be difficult to do coming out of that room.
Because the explosive plays last year, if you think about it, a lot of them were run plays.
Yeah.
Or swings to the back, because the threat of Jayden Daniels running, you'd be able to hit up the middle for 25, like the Armani Goodwin run is what I always reference. Against Mississippi State, you didn't see it coming until you did, and then it's wide open, and he goes for 25 and scores. It's been plays like that where they kind of chunk you up and hit you for 15, 20. John Emery had a bunch of those plays where it felt like, oh, he's one miss away from taking it to the house. Yeah. They pepper in the runs where it's almost a de facto, that's your trunk play. And so I'm interested to see how they kind of manufacture the run game, because if the reports from Jayden Daniels working on passing the ball the way that he has, I don't think he's going to run it as often as he did last year.
I agree.
So you're going to have to run it a little bit more conventionally, I think.
Remember our friends over at Ochsner Andrews Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a pediatric patient, high school athlete, member of the New Orleans Saints, Pelicans, weekend warrior, or even senior citizen, all of them turn to Ochsner Andrews Sports Medicine Institute for care. They've been serving residents of Louisiana, Mississippi, and beyond, and they're ready to help you move past whatever sports injury you face today. Every day, our multidisciplinary team provides customized care and for their one-of-a-kind patients. Online, Ochsner.org/sportsmed. Ochsner.org/sportsmed to learn more. I'm on the site right now. You can book an appointment. You can find the doctor with a specific specialty. You can get advice from a nurse right now. You can find the location that's nearest to you, and they've got locations all over. We'll be going over to their elite spot coming up here at the end of the month. Really looking forward to get over there with Dr. Burnham and the entire Ochsner Sports Medicine Institute, Andrews Sports Medicine Institute team that we've partnered up with here in football season. You can make virtual visits on the site. You can do all of it a part of the Ochsner Andrews Sports Medicine Institute that you can find online at ochsner.org/sportsmed for anything that you need to get back into shape or get back onto the field. All right, a couple of more here from Brian Kelly. Here is Kelly. Mike Denbrock is going to be open to the media tomorrow. He'll be speaking to the media tomorrow. Stewie, this is 10 of Brian Kelly talking about Denbrock and kind of what he has seen from the second-year offensive coordinator now working together again here at LSU.
I think just on a day-to-day basis, his comfort level with, what we're doing on a, from an offensive perspective, I think, he clearly knows the direction that we want to take, and there's no hesitancy. He doesn't feel like he has to keep me happy or, hey, I'm doing this for you. He knows exactly what's expected, and he can go without having to look over his shoulder. And because of that, he's assertive, makes those decisions that are in the best interest of the offense, and whether it's personnel or other, and it makes for a great working relationship.
Yeah, this is Stewie. This is Brian Kelly talking about the defensive backfield. One name that I think when we talk about the way that Brian Kelly described the running back room, where he's going to go with the most trusted, the most experienced, usually rise to the top, especially early in the season. One name that I think you got to watch in the defensive backfield is Deuce Chestnut. And if you listen to the description that Brian Kelly gives on his transfer corner, it's very similar to what he described in his what he's looking back at what he's looking for at running back a couple of minutes ago.
Yeah, I think I see what you guys see. Yeah. I mean, I think that Deuce is a guy that's got a lot of football, Power 5 football. He's played a lot of winning football. He's competitive, smart. And so you're getting a veteran player there. Obviously, he had the surgery, so we didn't see a lot of him in the spring. But, the things that really stood out for us in our evaluation was that he was a smart player, savvy, short tackler, and was always around the ball. And that's starting to kind of show itself here early on in camp. And, again, we're 5 days in, so I'm not ready to make any kind of bold statements, but he's making progress.
There he was talking about Deuce Chestnut. Here he is talking about the progression, even at cornerback, from LaTerrence Welsh and Ashton Stamps.
LT is, I think he's built on, his spring performance. His spring game was outstanding. He's had a great summer, and he continues to get better each and every day. Ashton's a true freshman who put on, a lot of weight. I think many of you remember us recruiting him. He was a bit, I would say, underweight at the position for us. And we were excited about his competitiveness and his athleticism, but we challenged him to get after it in the weight room, and he certainly did in the offseason and then this summer. And he looks the part. He's doing a really good job as a true freshman.
Brian Kelly yesterday speaking about his team at practice. Day off today? No? All right? No?
I'd have to
Don't we have the schedule somewhere?
Yeah, we got it somewhere. Yeah. So more LSU football camp talk. Obviously will be the area of discussion here on the show. Don't forget we've got tickets to give away for Red Rock and Blues event coming up at the Varsity Theater on August 19th as Jacques and his crew will be hosting Vertical Horizon, Petty Betty, and Regeneration. If you want to get involved, just hashtag Red Rock and Blue inside the chat. We'll give you some tickets to take in the event coming up over the next couple of weeks here. Compliments of our friends over at Red Rock and Blue. If you want to donate or pick up your tickets and need more than a pair, check out redrockandblue.com, redrockandblue.com. Anybody watch Hard Knocks last night?
I don't have HBO Max.
Anybody watch Manziel?
I watched that.
I did. I watched both of them. I watched Manziel last night, and I watched Hard Knocks this morning. I was up early. Hard Knocks is, I don't want to spoil it for anybody if anyone wants to watch it. It's a lot of Aaron Rodgers in episode 1.
He agreed to do it?
He did. And not only, and I will give Aaron Rodgers a ton of credit. It's the most I've ever seen him from a football standpoint in my life. Like, that's the most access I've ever seen, kind of like him in his element. Now, he knew he was mic'd up. He knew the cameras were rolling. You could tell.
Rodgers.
You could tell he was putting on a little bit. But in the way that he was mentoring Zach Wilson and the quarterbacking room, the way that he definitely still loves it. Like, there's one takeaway about Aaron Rodgers about he loves the game.
Did they show game 1? When him calling plays?
Yes. Yeah, like that's the good stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, like, that's good stuff. His practice, the way he practices. You know what I mean? The way that he really
sees the game through a totally different lens.
Yeah, man. I mean, like, and it's the Jets' reaction is very funny because obviously it's been such a long time since they've had a quarterback. I mean, like, there are so many people, like, in the organization, whether it's players, coaches, like, they're like staffers are like, I mean, everybody's like, whoa, what a throw. Like, everybody's like, I guess that's what it looks like when you got a quarterback.
Huh?
You know what I mean? Like, but the
How you like my new offense?
I mean, you forget, like, Sauce Gardner and Garrett Wilson. They're two battles.
Got a good young core.
They do, man. I mean.
And the other corner, they have, I think it's DJ Reed. He's just as good as Sauce.
Really?
Yeah. Like, they don't give him he doesn't get a lot of credit, but he's just
Sauce is out there.
Their defense is
salty. Well,
it's pretty legit. I mean, Quentin Williams and
just good up the middle, coach.
That's right.
And that's their head coach's, like, that's his MO.
He is the defensive guy.
Salah wasn't he the defensive coordinator at the Niners?
Yeah, with the Niners.
Yeah, he was. I mean, he was
Robert
running
Salas.
Salah.
Yeah, he's very
jacked.
He's very, like, soft-spoken type of guy.
Okay,
but he gets his message through. Like,
Dave Aranda on steroids.
Very. It's probably a good.
Like, literally on steroids.
It's a good comp.
It's a good comp, but even like a little, like, kind of maybe an elevated click of personality level.
Okay.
Of Dave Aranda. And I don't mean that disrespect, but Aranda.
Dave took, like, ecstasy.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, feeling pretty good.
Exactly.
How we doing, boys?
Exactly. You got any more gum?
You ever smelled Vicks Vapor Rub?
But it's a good watch, man. I mean, the youth in New York is definitely, I mean, it's got a good vibe to it. And then you throw Aaron Rodgers into the mix, and I mean, you've got this legend who is, you can tell he's embracing the back part of his career.
Yeah.
I mean, like, he
knows he's the old head in the room.
Absolutely.
And he gets to come and be like, this is my football team.
And he's still a dog.
Yeah, but he never got to do that. Green Bay was almost bigger than Aaron Rodgers, and just the way that the pecking order, he could never outlive Green Bay.
I mean, like, the opening scene of Hard Knocks is they get him walking out of the facility onto the practice field for the first time, and Hard Knocks does an incredible job of, like, bringing you that point of view. Mm-hmm. Like, they're like, the Burrow camera angle when he runs out for Texas A&M, where you're like, damn, that kind of, like, feels like I'm running out of the tunnel with him. You feel like it's that type of imagery when he's walking onto the practice field for the first time in New York, and it's probably like a 25, 30-yard walk before he gets to, like, the crowded area, like the place where they're sitting. So, like, if you're kind of, like, peeking back, constantly, like, seeing who's coming out, it's kind of like a build-up roar as he's walking. Like, you can hear people like, there he is, like Aaron Rodgers. And, like, HBO, they do a great job of bringing you that. Like, you can hear it. And, like, even Aaron Rodgers, like, turns and looks at somebody, which, would probably be deemed as, like, arrogant or cocky, but like, these guys live a different life than we could ever imagine, and this is the type of stuff that happens to him probably everywhere he goes. Not at this level, but I mean, I'm sure when he walks down the street in California, people are probably like, there he is. There, look at Aaron Rodgers. Look at Aaron Rodgers.
Well, certainly in Green
probably
Bay.
hears it. Yes, for sure. Even in New York. But, like, he turns and looks at the guy, and he's like, have you ever had this before? You know, like, you can tell the guy's like, no. You know, like, and he's like.
Wait, like the camera guy?
Yeah, he's like, you know, it's like, have you ever gotten this before?
Yeah.
It is like, the guy's kind of like, you know, you can see the camera like.
I'm nervous
like,
as hell.
Yeah, right. This is awesome. And you can tell Rodgers, he kind of peacock, you know, he puts his, you know,
he loves it.
He's strutting. Yeah, he loves it, man. He still gets it. And I mean, like, I'm not knocking it. You know what I mean? Like,
No.
I would love it. But I mean, that was the part where I'm like, oh, man, he's still in it. He still loves this stuff. You know what I mean? Like, in the way he talks about football, the way he sees football, him and Nathaniel Hackett have a great relationship. I mean, they show the Sean Payton stuff. And, like, they play like the Breeze quarterback challenge, like after practice, like they'll do like all the quarterbacks and like the coaches will go like do something.
Jason Garrett, Dak Prescott.
Right. And like they're trying to hit the pylon from 15 yards away, and they're just standing on the line, and they're just looking directly at the pylon. But kind of the game is mental, and as you're about to throw it, like they'll make a comment.
Oh, like basketball.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's what they compare it to.
Really? Yeah. Nice. See, things clicking.
And
fake out, psych out.
This thing works.
Yeah.
And as Nathaniel Hackett steps up on his first one, and he's got the ball right here, like Aaron Rodgers, like Sean Payton.
That's exactly what
and
I
Hackett just like skips it, you know, like 2 feet in front.
Uh-huh.
But then it goes into like the defense mechanism that Rodgers puts up, and then they do a great job of kind of showing Hackett and Rodgers' relationship. And there's true respect there. You know what I mean? Like Hackett will go at him. You know, I kind of perceived it as they were putting Aaron Rodgers' guy in place that Aaron Rodgers could kind of steer. What we have to remember is Aaron Rodgers is 38 years old. He's played football now for 17 years at the highest level. There has to be a trust factor where you're like, hey, man, a lot of this is what you want to do. You know what I mean? I'm not going to tell some 40-year-old how to play his profession. So you have to have that right personality in the mix that the guy can understand the room and understand the mind he's, yet still challenge him. Still try to get what he needs out of him every day to push him to get better, right? It's a cool dynamic between Hackett. That was one of the takeaways that I had from it was that, you know, I mean, I thought Hackett and Rodgers really had a good chemistry, good relationship, something that Aaron Rodgers, that wasn't fabricated when he stepped onto the NFL Network and told Sean Payton to, you know, like, keep my coach's name out of your mouth. He was dead serious when he said that. I mean, you can see like the guy that's interviewing him kind of like,
let that thing
man,
breathe.
We got some stuff here today. You know what I mean? Like we're going to be trending, boys.
Pack it up.
Yeah, like we're going viral. So, you know, I thought Hard Knocks, the first episode, ton of Aaron Rodgers, which they're probably like getting that out of the way. I didn't realize
what people want. They usually give you what you want in the first one, and they try to figure it out after that. They go into like the camp battles, rookies. I wonder if they'll do that for this one, or if it's just going to be heavy dose of Rodgers.
I doubt it because they've got some personality on this team.
Yeah, Sauce.
I mean, like Garrett Wilson's got really good personality, the wide receiver. I didn't realize Al Woods was still in the team. It was still in the NFL.
Still balling.
Al Woods.
I played against him in high school.
Still playing.
The NFL.
Like still playing like to a degree. Like they don't even dress him for preseason.
Yeah,
they're like, hey man, you're on the team.
He's a senior when I was a freshman.
Hang out, Al.
So he's 35?
He is.
But at that position,
the Saints drafted him in, was it 2010?
No, it can't be 2010 because that was my senior year. So maybe so, yeah. He'd have been 4 years out of.
Because he was he supposed to be on the 11 team or was he before that?
Did he go to the Seahawks? He's bounced around.
Tampa drafted him.
No, the Saints drafted him. Saints drafted him and cut him.
His first
LSU
stats were logged with Tampa.
What year?
2010.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that was okay.
And then LSU, he's the LSU recruit, right? That did his go haywire?
He was a 5-star.
Yeah, I know he's a 5-star, but he made it to campus, right? Or no?
Al Woods?
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
He
yeah.
played a ton
Who
of
am I
football
talking about that they picked up and he slept over at somebody's house, and it was a recruiting violation, so he couldn't come to LSU.
Oh, you're talking about the place for the Bears, Akeem Hicks.
Yeah, I get them
Akeem
confused
Hicks.
because they're both out of like the
Yeah.
same age, whereas like two dominant. He was supposed to be on LSU.
DJ McCartney.
Yeah.
Took the
Colorado
fall for that. Yeah.
Less guy.
Yeah, less guy. All right, appreciate you being out there. Hit that like button, share button, comment button, and then the Manziel thing.
Oh, unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
He was.
I mean, like, he was ahead of his time.
Yes.
I mean-
Or behind in the times. He would have thrived in the 80s.
He would have thrived in the 80s for sure. But I mean, like,
And
the way
NIL.
he challenged the NIL stuff. I mean, like, that was to get an inside look on how. I thought he was rich.
Yeah.
I thought he was rich.
I thought he was rich too.
Well, they're
I thought he
not. They're
came
not
from-
poor.
No, they're not poor, but it's not oil money.
Right.
Right? I mean, like, I thought he was I didn't know that behind the scenes he was making that type of money. I really thought that he was like, I mean, he was a college kid. Yeah. I mean, I didn't give him as much credit as they deserved. I mean, they were behind the scenes making cash.
Bank.
Like, making a ton of
Johnny,
money.
sign this for me,
and that's exactly what I would have done if I would have been in that situation. I would have flown private jets to all the biggest clubs in the country, partied with all the celebrities, sat in courtside at all of the NBA games, and met LeBron. Like, I mean, the guy Nate telling the story was so funny when they were like, they were surprised to see us.
Yeah, we're surprised to be here.
They were like, they couldn't believe we were here.
Imagine going through that
Could
old
you
phone.
imagine, like, walking in if Drake was like, holy shit, there's Johnny Football. I'd be like, boys,
Holy shit,
it's
that's
about to
Drake.
be a night.
Yes.
It's about to be a night. Turn your phones off.
Never.
Like, I mean, this is amazing. I love when they're like, can you tell us some stories? Like, I mean, I could, but I'm not. I mean, like,
yeah, the things that we're showing you are this is the pre-party. This is not what happened. You know, this is like what we can tell you about, and that still seemed electric.
It did.
What happened after, God knows.
Oh man.
Him going to Vegas and then not being able to book it in the mustache and the wig, and then I can't find a
lost
flight.
it.
Yeah,
I mean,
He's
like that was when it was
all right,
over.
we're about to turn up.
The Kingsbury stuff is great.
Kingsbury's just what
like,
a gift.
What about when he saw him at Mississippi State? That was the Scooby Doo.
Uh-huh.
Like, so he goes to the Halloween party, and the Halloween party looks. That was the first picture I saw of Johnny Football when he's up on stage. And he's like, he's spooning the blonde.
Yeah, arm in
and
arm.
he's like standing up, and she's like, I mean, it looks like a magazine cover.
It looks like a 2006
Can
Polaroid.
you pull that up, Stewie? I mean, it is one of the most epic
old school Instagram
college
filter.
football pictures of all time. And that was the first picture that I ever saw of him. I mean, if you just type Scooby-Doo, Johnny Manziel, it will be right on top. But that was the first time I had recognized,
Oh, that's who he is.
Here he comes. Like, I mean, like, you keep hearing his name, and then, like,
this is the picture that comes out.
Kingsbury's telling the story, and like that, it was either that Thursday night of the game, this picture surfaces of Manziel, and Kingsbury says, like, he gets to the game Saturday morning. It's 11 a.m. kickoff in Starkville, and Manziel's still like sweating, like, I mean, like, got bags under his eyes. And Kingsbury's like, for the first time, I'm like, bro, it's time for you to grow up a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, if you fuck this up today, I'm.
What he say is like, you better fucking play well.
Yeah, he's like, we're gonna have some problems. And he's like, finally, I looked at him, and I was like, you better fucking play well. Like,
both of our asses are on the line.
It's like they cut to him, and he's like slicing the Mississippi State defense up. I mean, just like
the best game he played in his career.
Yeah, and Kingsbury's like, I never said a word to him again about his lifestyle.
Let Johnny be Johnny.
Yeah, you just do it, man.
I mean, and he couldn't have a better or worse, I guess, mentor, because Kingsbury's. Oh yeah, I mean, Johnny be good. That's a fraternity party if I've ever seen one.
You got my Heisman vote.
I wonder where she is.
Big Johnny Manziel.
Yeah, that picture keeps coming up. I'm sure she was watching the documentaries, like with her
kids, go to bed.
Her husband, like, oh,
right.
Is that you?
Right.
No,
that's enough.
Put your toys away.
2010, fourth round pick, Al Woods by the New Orleans Saints. 2010.
He got cut.
Sometimes Sean Payton.
Oh.
Yeah. He was like, these LSU
He is an
guys.
epic overthinker.
Mm-hmm. Or chronic underthinker.
Who was the cornerback from Nebraska?
Oh, Prince.
Second rounder?
Prince of Mukamura?
No. Stan.
He had a 4-syllable name.
No, he drafted. He reached for some Nebraska corner that just was like, what is he doing?
Took him in the second round and had to cut him.
He lost his way there for a while, man.
Johnny or Sean?
No, Sean.
Both.
Stanley John Baptiste.
Stanley Jean
Baptiste.
That's it.
Good Lord.
2014.
Second round pick?
Second round pick.
58th pick.
With no tape.
That's right.
It just wasn't even like.
That's right.
It was one of those old school
right.
Saints picks where you
That's
go,
right.
who?
They drafted a punter?
What year was that draft?
It was 2014.
Let's see who else was on the board in 2014 NFL draft.
Oh my God, this is Jarvis Landry.
That's what I remember kowtowing for Jarvis.
That's the Jarvis Landry draft.
No, we're gonna take Stanley Jean Baptiste.
I think he might have drafted another person before Jarvis came off the board. Was Jarvis a third round pick?
No, he was a second.
No, was he a second?
Yeah,
I think he was a late
68,
second.
something like that.
Let's see who they could have had. Jarvis went second, 63rd pick to Miami. Saints at the 58th pick took Stanley Jean Baptiste. Could have had Allen Robinson, Jarvis Landry,
And I'm looking
Trey
at
Turner.
I'm looking at the 2014 cornerback class, and Stanley John Baptiste was the 15th ranked cornerback in the 2014.
That's
amazing. Saw something in him.
Good interview.
It had Alfred Blue.
Size. He was probably the tallest corner in the class.
I think he was. This is when.
Oh no, they had a 6'3" and 3/4, but he was 6'2".
I think Stanley Jean Baptiste played wide receiver, and they converted him to corner. I think he was going for the Richard Sherman effect.
Yeah, he was going. He fell in love with Seattle.
Yeah,
Then
he got Brandon Browner.
Brandon Browner,
the league leader in personal fouls, just unbelievable.
And then who was the safety that he signed?
Oh God, from Buffalo.
There is, was it Bird?
Bird.
Jarius Bird.
Jarius Bird.
Yeah, he was awesome.
He wanted him to be Chancellor.
Yeah.
You're like, what are you
this man's
looking
5'8".
at? Dude?
Well, Jarius Bird just had 9 interceptions that year, the previous year, and he signs him to this lucrative $100 million deal.
Remember the first game, Bird got he got torched. He got torched. It was like that. It was like the second year he was here. He signed a guy by the name of Jason David, a cornerback from the Indianapolis Colts.
And guess who they played week 1?
And Peyton and the Saints in year 1 go to the NFC title game, and they got Breeze and they got Reggie Bush, and they become this marketing sensation. So they open up the NFL season the next year in 2007 in Indianapolis, who's coming off of a Super Bowl win. They're the Super Bowl winners, and they play them against the Saints on prime time. And Jason David on the opening or second drive of the game scoops and scores. He scoops up a fumble recovery and runs it down the sideline. And then after that, I think they go at him 20 times and complete 17 passes.
Peyton Manning was feasting.
Marvin Harrison, Reggie Wayne, Brandon Stokely, Dallas Clark, are just eating this dude alive.
Nowhere to hide.
Meanwhile, Sean Payton's trying to hide like the water boy coach when they find his notebook. He is trying to duck and run from the cameras because it was just what were you thinking? Signing a 5'7" corner, man.
Scoop and score.
He can scoop and score, coach.
Scoop and score.
Peyton Manning picked on him.
Oh my
all
God,
night
he
long.
had a field day.
They put up 40-something points.
All right, enjoy your day. Make sure that you hit that like button, share button, comment button. We'll be back with you tomorrow morning here on the Jordy Culotta Show. As always, built by RMB Builders.
All right, could have Derek Carr.
Hey, Chino. Put my headphones up, bro. Monday through Friday from 7 to 9. Yeah, you see the notification. We about to go live. We got all your favorite guests. We got them in line. It's the Jordy Culotta Show. Come have a good time. It's the hottest show around. We ain't got to flex. Call up G, we get it done. We earning our respect. Tell recruits to let us in. Where they going next? Throw up the L's. Now we lit. Band playing neck. From the boot to the east to the west coast. No matter where we at, we live. Mic'd up for show. Open up the phone lines. Come and join the show. Make sure you tell your